We are here with Tim O'Sullivan, one of the founders of the great Bae Juice, which I'm
juice in the world.
A lot of listeners know all about. It's a fascinating story. Obviously, we are a property podcast, but we really wanted to get you in to speak about the journey, your journey personally, but also particularly the start of Bae Juice, which is really taking the world now by storm, especially in the US. So take us through the origins of Bae Juice, mate. How did it all start?
I shall. So, I was in hospitality. I still am. I still work at the cafe all the time. So our family's got a cafe. Benny and me, Rose Street.
Benny and me.
PJ's usually down there having a long black.
On your Petey.
Which is good. So I've always been in the hospo game, completely loved it, but I always knew that I wanted to do something else and of my own. It was always in me, that little fire burning. I met a girl on Tinder, Sumin. She's from South Korea. She was just fresh in for about 3 weeks, could barely speak a word of English. So it was perfect. I don't know how we conversed. It was looking back on it, it's just outrageous.
And O'Sullivan and someone not speaking English would be amazing.
It doesn't make much sense.
Amazing.
So we went to Somewhere Bar on Chapel Street for our first date. I was working behind the bar. She came up and ordered a pint of Carlton Draft and a shot of whiskey. So she had a shot of whiskey, sculled the pint. She's like, "Do you smoke cigarettes?" I'm like, "Yeah, buddy, oath." We go out for a dart. I'm like, "How good's this?" She goes, "Oh, look, I've been invited with some girls to go to a nightclub down the road. Look, catch up with you later." I had work. I'm like, "No worries." Here from her 2 days later, she goes, "I went to this place called Revolver." 2 weeks into it, Melbourne.
Never been there.
Never been.
2 weeks in, she's been there. And we hit it off. 2.5 weeks later, she moved in with me. And then 3 weeks after that, it was a bit of a nut house where I was living.
So 3 weeks.
3 weeks after I met her, she's moved in.
You moved in.
She's moved in. And then 3 weeks after that, I've gone, "Mum and Dad, I'm moving back home." They go, "Great, this would be really good for you." With a Korean chick called Sumin. And I'm like,
I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
So she's moved into the family house. I got 90-year-old granddad there who's just going, "Who's this chick?" She's got face piercings, tattoos on her necks and her fingers. And he's going, "Whoa, this is a lot." So we hit it off. Relationship was great. She was amazing. Still is amazing. And a year into the relationship, she's like, "Let's go to South Korea. You got to meet my clan." I was like, "Done." Head over there for Thanksgiving. Huge event. It's just, they just drink so much in South Korea. Oh, but they're just not they just don't do dumb shit like we do. They just drink and do it joyfully and then go to bed rather than all the headlocks. So they just don't have this bad stigma about how much they drink because they just behave a little bit. So huge drinking culture. I had the best few 10 days ever. I was just like a puppet. I just had somewhere to be every day. Meeting cousin, meeting auntie, meeting old school friends, work colleagues, you name it.
How's the language barrier?
Oh, it was there. It was present. But we got through it. And when you drink, you can really speak other languages a lot better. I think you should get a bit of courage, but I felt like after a few drinks, my Korean was all right.
I won't attempt anything.
Yeah, no. And then so we're just drinking every single day because it's socialising. And at the end of every night, we'd go to the convenience store and there's a Red Bull fridge in the Gatorade section. There's a Hangover fridge, with a whole little row of all these different drinks. Couldn't read any of them. Sumin would pass me a different one every now and then. A lot of her friends were just drinking. It looked like a Just Juice, but it was a Korean pear juice. There's little vials that have got B vitamins and all these other bits and pieces. And I was like, this is unbelievable. How fascinating. So I was drinking and waking up feeling really good. Every morning, I'm like, geez, I feel great. It's the good old you don't get hungover on holiday kind of thought.
Pre and post or just post?
Just pre. Wait, what do you mean?
So you were having the pear juice at Suda was
the night during the night out.
During
I was
the night
having
out.
a drink.
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
Thank you, because that helps promote our product.
Brilliant.
And then I was waking up good, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, it's all that shit you keep fucking giving me the night before." So I look into it all. It's got all this study done on it, the Korean pear. There's an enzyme inside it. It speeds up your metabolism of alcohol, which helps break it down to detoxify it so then you wake up feeling better. And there's a CSIRO article, Seoul University, Sydney University. I was like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. It was super tasty, cost a couple of bucks. I was like, this is like liquid gold. This thing's incredible. So drank it flat stick all trip, was obsessed with it, took tons back. One of my best mates, Liam Gosnick, he was in commercial real estate for a while.
He was a little bit.
CBRE? Yeah, CBRE. Yeah. And we'd been looking to do something together for ages. And he's like, this is unbelievable. I've been pulling up so well. So I went to a couple of local stores, Korean stores, Asian supermarkets, couldn't find it. And we were like, we've got to get more of this into the country for our own sakes, let alone a business idea. So we got samples sent over. And then 6 months in, me and Sumin are like, fuck it, let's just go back to Korea. Let's just roll in with no plan. We'll find a manufacturer. I'm sure they'll say yes. and we'll just build our own Korean brand. And we're like, okay, so we hopped on a plane, landed in South Korea again, no meetings, nothing, broke as shit. And then Sumin's dad picks us up. He's calling Korean pear farms all over the country. And then Sumin's mum's there. She's like, I grew up in the most famous part of Korea for pears. Like, let's go there. So bang, we're on a train, staying with her auntie above a restaurant. And so we slept above this restaurant for a couple of nights, trying to find a pear farm. We found one, rolled in hot. I'm covered in tats. Sumin's got like piercings in her nose and fucking everywhere. And we roll into a very formal meeting. There's short back and sides, big green rooms, colour of money, green desk. They've got short, it's just iconic. And we're sitting there. My deck was an A4 page going, there's 800 Coles, there's 1,000 Woolies, there's like 900 7-Elevens. We're going to crush it. They'll all take it. We drink heaps of piss. I think we spent $15 billion on piss last year. So everyone's going to love it. And I'm like, oh, it sounds all right. So like whack on a hairnet, put on some gumboots. Let's go give you a tour of the facilities. I was like, okay, did it. The guy sat us down at the end. We were 24. And he goes, look, when I was 24, I would have loved to have had the balls to do what you guys are trying to do or had the support from someone. I'm going to back you two in.
Did he say this in Korean or English?
Korean. Imagine Sumi's made it up.
Yeah.
God,
so that was your first, like,
that was our first time we ever met him.
It's the first manufacturer. It wasn't like the second.
That was the first one. No,
first farm.
First one, and they go,
and
they go, we've always wanted to export. We just don't know what to do. You guys got good energy. Let's just go.
It's incredibly courageous. Like, they would have been like, this guy's, they've got genuine.
Yeah. We were hungry as we came in hot. I'm pretty good with my words. So I sat there, going rang, and they're like, maybe.
How similar? I mean. Have you seen the movie with Denzel Washington and he flies over, what's it, American Gangster? Was it that sort of setup or just
like American Made almost? Have you seen that one as well?
I haven't seen that
one.
No,
that's good.
Flies over to the Philippines and crunches a deal. And
yeah, I think it's Vietnam at the time, or it could have been Thailand.
Yeah, something like that. I wasn't smuggling it in. It was all above order.
Fantastic.
And that was super keen. They were like, absolutely, let's do it. They're like, go back to Australia, build a brand, and let's get this thing done. So like, okay, done. I was working at the cafe. I was getting $700 a week for 6 days a week. 6 to 6, I was working with the old man. And then Sumin was working at the cafe too. Then Liam's like, oh, I'll come work at the cafe. We'll do Bae Juice. We'll all get paid from that. We'd save $1,000 a week between the three of us. And each week we'd use that 1,000 to do something to set the business up. So the business registry, set up some accounts, get some legal documents set up, and then we saved $2,500 for the brand and the logo, and we just did it week by week, just saving up bit by bit. And then we finally had it all done. Korean Pear Farm's like done, 20-foot container, ready to go. We flew over, saw it get printed. It was the best feeling ever. Standing at the end of the conveyor belt, just catching one, and they were hot as fuck as well. So you could barely hold it. And it was just the most amazing feeling, holding that little pouch after all that. It was wild.
So we're
still the exact same. Yeah, except a few little compliance things we might have missed at the start.
So this was basic. So this was basically coming out, what you were just describing, coming out like this.
Yeah, that's it.
First go. So you've done all the branding,
everything.
Packaging.
Yeah. It's been 6 years. So it's about 5, 6 years ago.
So how long did it take for that to happen?
6 or 9 months. I know it's a bit of a gap. I say something different
6 or
every
9
time.
months from when you just described.
So we went and visited him. Yeah.
So then when you went there and it came out like this.
Just
about. Pretty quick.
It was pretty quick.
Quick turnaround.
And then
and did you have any experience starting a brand like that? Because a lot of people do master's degrees, business degrees to understand systems, marketing, product placement, packaging, all these processes that go into delivering a product.
No, absolutely no idea.
World experience.
Yeah. I had it covered.
So, I mean, Liam's obviously worked in commercial real estate, completely different business. So no experience at all.
I always say the same thing. I wouldn't know how to post a letter. Incredible. Like, do you put 1 or 2 stamps on it? Do you lick the stamp still and like whack it on? How much do you put their phone number? Like, I would not know how to post a letter. And here we got a 20-foot container with like 30 tons of Korean pear juice on the water for 33 days on a container ship, getting through customs. So it's pretty wild. So we got a lot of help.
That's awesome. So with so they come back to Australia. So that's 6 years in. I don't know how many you said a 20-foot container. Was it how many?
20-foot container. 20-foot container. 40,000 little sachets on there.
And so you're 6-9 months in, and then take us through the next phase.
How long did it take to sell them all?
We gave away about 20,000 units of them pretty quickly.
Yes.
I couldn't even remember. Maybe a year we sat on that container, or a little bit less, I reckon. Just about. We were still working full-time jobs. We went, sort of had 10 stores, 20 stores, 50 stores, doing our own distribution out of the back of Liam's mum's car. Neither of us had a car. And that's the hardest bit because, you go in, high five, put it on Instagram, new store. But then when they sell out, you got to go and replenish it, and then you got to invoice them, which we never did. So everyone was just cleaning up all week for free offers because we'd never invoice them. We didn't know what we were doing.
Do you remember your first deal?
Benny and Me Cafe.
Of course.
Of course. They didn't pay us very well, actually. But no, like all just different little local independently owned stores.
Nice.
So we got to 100. Actually, we got some really good advice from a bloke, typical like early business stage, like, let's find some shortcuts. This is fucking hard. I don't think that's the most business-minded thing. How can we take some shortcuts? And I asked the bloke on, hey, mate, can you introduce us to like 50 stores, someone that has got 50 so I don't have to go to them individually? He goes, mate, like, A, it's not how it works. B, think about it. If you hit 10 stores once a day for 4 weeks or 5 weeks, you've got 50 stores. He goes, so if you go and do that and prove to me you can work your ass off and you're not a little pussy, then I will help you in that next phase go and get some sort of bigger syndicates in stores. And I was like, fuck, great advice. So we went and smashed 30 a week instead of 10 a week, got to 100, didn't need his help anyway, but it was just an amazing little moment for us to go, you know what, let's, pull our finger out here. It's not that hard. We just got to do the work. So we got our 100 stores. COVID hit. Everyone started drinking heaps of piss and people were ordering heaps of it online. We're like, sweet, dodged a bullet there.
Wow.
And then because Woolies was so busy, this is sort of like a year in, 18 months in, they were so busy that any product that wasn't performing in store just got the boot because it was the only stores that were open in the country. So it was pretty cutthroat. So there's the juice sector in Woolies just wasn't performing very well. There's daily juice and nudie juice and that was it. So like, you know what? You might spice up the juice category a little bit. Again, things are just timing sometimes. You might spice the category up. Let's get your little thing in there. You guys are all nuts. You're a busy brand. We might need that, down the line to, bring a bit of hype towards our stores and you'll drive some customers through. We'll take a risk. And we're like, sweet. We're like, cool, 1,100 stores, need the stock in 4 months. And we're like, we don't have any money. I don't usually I'll tell this a little bit, but we went to the pear farm and said, hey, look, we've landed Woolies. And they were like, oh my God, this is the biggest thing ever. Huge for Korean export as well. And I can touch on that as well. We're a part of a lot of trade associations and agricultural groups and stuff because of what we've accomplished with a really Korean fruit.
Who would have thought? That's amazing.
It's hilarious, isn't it?
Timmy Too Many are part of trade organisations
Sitting there
globally. Globally.
Yeah.
Not just in Australia, globally.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So they were so pumped. But I said to him, I was like, look, just a small hiccup. We just don't have any cash to buy it off you to sell it to them. Could we tick a couple of containers? And they were like, oh. And they were like, yeah, all right. Like, sweet. Like, how much do you want? Like, just a couple of 40-foot containers will do. So it's like 200,000 units. Pumped it out, sent it over. We'll go a bit of the IOU on the old Post-it note. We'll get you back. And then we're like, oh, but we need a bit of money for marketing, actually, to make sure we drive velocity in sales. So it might be a while. And they're like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. You just go and kick your goals, go and make it happen, and happy days. So they just sent a couple 100,000 units our way without us giving them a dime. And we probably still were late on the first container, knowing us. And they were just like, go for it. We hit Woolies, super challenging. You have to hit some heavy benchmarks, like heavy sales goals. So we were sort of
just quickly. Of those 100 stores, was it all Woolies or was it a mix?
So it was 1,100 Woolies. So 1,100 of them. Sorry.
Yeah. So the 100 stores you came in, was that all Woolworths?
No, so those first 100 are all just random independents.
Stores. And then after that 100 stores, then you landed Woolies.
Bingo. Yeah. Gotcha. Then we got Woolies. So that was our first major.
And what are their metrics? I cut you off. What are their metrics for sales?
Yeah. So they just set different averages per the size of your business, what category and where you're located and all that sort of stuff. So we weren't really hitting our averages.
Yep.
So we're like, we need to throw the kitchen sink at something here. And then again, we consider ourselves pretty lucky. We put a lot down to business about luck. Plenty of luck going around.
But you guys obviously
from our perspective,
100%.
You create your own luck.
And the product's great. So the person that ended up giving us a massive props on TikTok loved the product. So the product was great to then get lucky of him posting it. But that got 500,000 views
so
6 years
go
ago.
back a little bit because we rushed that a bit. So take us through what you just sort of went in regards to you the product placement on TikTok. Is that what it was?
Yeah. So
you were struggling
Woolies-
at Woolworths. You were in there. You were struggling a little bit.
Yeah, a little
Not
bit.
struggling, but the metrics were quite high. You were still going okay.
Yeah, and we had no money, and we're a year in as a brand. We had no idea what we were doing.
And then take us through that to the next step.
Yeah, so we were like, geez, what are we going to do? We need to throw the kitchen sink at something, but we're just not sure what.
Yep.
And then someone's like, the girls at the cafe, I'm like, are you seeing all the Bae Juice stuff on TikTok? And I'm like, no, I don't even have the app. Look on it, look at the hashtag under Bae Juice, and there's like 1.8 million views under our hashtag and hundreds of pieces of content of people drinking our product. And there's one guy recently at PT and he had 500,000 views, but it was like 800 comments going, does this work? Does this work? Where do I get it? And he's like, it's only $4 at your nearest Woolworths. And I was like, oh, fucking legend. You know, like literally, it was almost like we'd paid for it.
That's product
At your
placement
nearest
101.
Woolworths.
Product placement 101.
It was unbelievable. And he replied to every comment because it's good for his algorithm as well. So he's replying to everything, telling people where to get it. And he goes, and I'll do a follow-up video in the morning to let you know if it worked or not. Does a follow-up video next morning going, this shit's unbelievable. I went out all night with the crew last night, had PT in the morning, felt shit hot, go and get some. And our sales ticked up a little bit into a bit more of a nicer zone. And then people went and brought it and started posting about it. And we were like, all right, TikTok's the go. Let's go invest some cash in that. Find a TikTok agency going, cool, what's your minimum tier? And like 15 grand.
A month?
For what? He goes, yeah, we got like 5 or 6 creators. Yeah. They'll pump it for you. We'll get a couple of million views. And we're like, oh, all right, we'll do it. We had like 9 in the account. It's paid them like 30 days late. And then like they go, look, we need you to pay. And we're like, fair enough. And then all of a sudden we had a couple of payments come through for a few pallets, hit the 15, paid our bill, and then they got like 1.5 million views across all of their creators as well. Numbers are up, happy days. Woolies is humming.
And what sort of, in terms of sales from Woolworths, what did it go from when you said you were struggling? Do you know what the sales were then to then what they were when you started hitting some good numbers after those TikTok videos?
Oh, like we're doing like sort of across the 1,000 stores, we were like around that sort of 4 or 5 units per store mark. So 4,000 units, like sort of like a week.
Wow.
And then that sort of got us to that 6, 7, 8, like fluctuating around that sort of space. So pretty wild.
Is there a demographic or location that you can talk about where it does really well?
It's so strange.
Richardson
We'll be
Street,
in like
Bundaberg. Richardson Street.
Yeah. But
For our listeners, that's Jack O'Sullivan.
Yeah. I guess we better give some context.
And mine, to be fair, in my old drinking days, but not to be now. As Paul just chuckles away real creepily.
Yeah. But like, what were we yapping about?
Destinations
like demographic. Mate, there'll be people like there'll be stores in Broome. There'll be a place in Bundaberg like performing well. It's so random. It really is. But there's a store in Miami in the Goldie doing like 60 units a week, and they want us to be doing 5, 6 on average is our expectation.
They're the real cross section up there. They Monday to Friday, their health. Friday to Sunday up there in the Gold Coast, they're all fun and games.
I moved to the Gold Coast for some wholesomeness. You just start drinking earlier.
Such a contradiction of two lifestyles.
You get up early, but you start drinking at midday.
Now, we could talk about this all day. Just quickly before I go into the next
bounce
part. So how many stores is Bae Juice in now?
We're at about 4,000 now.
Wow.
Which is good.
Woolworths,
Woolies, Dan's, BWS, hundreds and hundreds of independents. We just landed like Liquorlands and First Choices, but it's a slow rollout. Just landed Ampol. Coles Express is looking good. We did like a small little stint with them to then hopefully roll on next year. So it's pretty wild. So our product can be sold in grocery, alcohol, pharmacy, and where else was I going with that? And petrol and convenience, which is unbelievable. Not many brands can actually have all of them. You sort of get pigeonholed into just alcohol or just grocery. So we're quite lucky.
To get to that level, though, there was a capital raising. I believe some investors came on board. I'm not sure I know a couple of them. Obviously, I'm not sure if we can talk about them on air or not, but a couple of investors got involved. Some advice, you're able to improve the production and whatever else. How's that experience been?
Amazing. So the raise is fine. So the Holding Capital Group were amazing. We've got heaps of press chatting about them, and I've had quotes from good old Will, who's on our board and been a great part of the business.
They're great men, Will and Damien Honan.
Will and Damo. So we're very lucky.
Sensational old Zavarians.
Absolutely.
TJ.
Where'd you go to school? Someone asked me the other day.
Scapes.
I thought I'd guessed that actually. I said Trinity actually.
We won't go to the school with you, mate.
Yeah, no. Good idea. We'll leave that out. We'll end up here for an hour.
You finished up at Xavier in New Zealand, didn't you?
Yeah. On the slopes.
No, we won't go there, mate. Let's stay on track. So the equity raising.
So we did that
the
November
States.
21, I believe, and that was to just support more marketing growth, entry to the US, or to start building out all the compliance for the US, more so the actual US launch, which we can talk about quickly, and just more stock. So that was an amazing process. Had a great deck. We're in a great position to go into a raise. One thing that I think is really important for us, so we've done 2 now. So we recently just raised $1 million in March. So the Honan's rolled over again, which is incredible to get an investor to roll through and sort of put some more money in. And I think that's really testimony to us as business owners, because we promised them that we would land a convenience store. It's easy to say in a deck, the hockey stick. The business is blossoming. Have you ever seen a deck going downwards? You know what I mean? It's all just shit. So I think
25,000 times EBIT.
Yeah.
We're flying.
EBITDA. So I think it's really important to deliver and execute on what you say, and I think that's credit to me, Liam and Sumin. We really do try to execute on everything we do, always, even though we run around like absolute headless chooks. We really make sure we always deliver. So that was really important throughout the raise period, and then to have them on the board and to be following along the journey to see that we actually are completing all these bits and pieces.
What about some of the hard moments? Because people don't often hear about them.
No, it's always financial stuff. You're like, we owe the beer farm $200,000. That's what we do. We just laugh. We just fucking piss ourselves.
Spoke about living in a car early days.
No. We're working out the back of a car. Yeah.
Pete,
I've hit some loads.
Pete and Ali still out of bed for you.
Yeah. 42 beds now. They've got a motel in Essendon if anyone needs a room.
They do have a motel in Essendon, which is that's a podcast in itself.
Yes.
Some of the stories I heard from the new motel, Paul, you would lose your marbles.
It is ludicrous. But challenges, we've had wrong barcodes. We've sat in cool rooms for 4 or 5 hours, restickering barcodes, little things like that. I went through a breakup. I broke up with Sumin 3 years ago now. It's so open. It's a while ago now. We've both had sort of different partners since, and we work together every single day. Group chats. When she's in Australia, she sits between me and Liam at the desk.
Yeah, wow.
So it's really amicable. But we went through a breakup, living together for 4.5 years, owning a business. She worked at the cafe, and we had other side hustle together, and we just broke up. So throw that in the mix, and then your best friend's the business partner, like trying to tiptoe around it all, but also trying to grow the company.
Of course.
So it was, that was just madness in itself. But the hardest bit is just having a balance. It's impossible. Whoever can clock that, fucking credit to you. A balance between going out, but then working, but then still trying to
switch off,
have a relationship, going on dates, and having a normal life at the same time.
On that, have you had a mentor be able to help you through that? Have you had any mentors in this last 6-7 years?
Yeah, I had. I paid for a life coach last year. Nico Dimatina. Do you know Nico Dimatina?
Nico, mate,
is it old Zav?
Oh, one of the greats.
Yeah. Mate. He reached out to me and I was having.
He's coming back to Melbourne over New Year.
He is. Yeah, we're gonna go walk with Marby together. Can you imagine the shit we'll be talking about?
I'll
fucking
see you down
hilarious.
there.
Yeah, it's down there.
Big on his meditation, Nico.
Yeah, did the transcendental meditation with him.
Awesome.
But then we touched on a lot of gratitude stuff and spoke a lot about energy. I just felt like I'd sit in a room and I was just going 400 million miles an hour. And I was like, there's got to be more to it. I want to understand it a little bit better. Then he messages the next day on LinkedIn going, hey, man, like, loving what you're doing. Like, I'm really like all about like energy and stuff. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, are you listening to my head?
He's out there. He's out there. But if you let him sort of do it, he actually
100%.
He's impressive.
But it's like anything. If you just fucking dive into it and just go, you know what, I'm not going to care about anything else. I'm just going to give you 100%. He's doing some crazy shit and like doing some crazy meditations and stuff. But if you just dive in, it's great.
But he comes from a really good place of care and genuine
100%.
Sort of,
so I walk the dog every morning. I love my little doggy Margie. And every morning I sort of walk around. I'd sort of tell myself a few things I'm grateful for pretty much every single day. And I called him up the other day and told him that, and he was just beside himself. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, look, we were doing 1 hour sessions once a week for a year. He goes, you only need to get one thing out of it that just sticks. And he goes, for you to have the gratitude piece stick is huge. Because I still go out and have a bit of a nutty lifestyle, but it's so nice to sort of take a moment and be super grateful sort of on the daily. I try. So that was an amazing moment for you. And then that really sort of makes you a little bit humble, which helps your business, which helps you become more likable, I think, in ways. And just, it was a really great experience. And I think it was amazing that I had to pay for it as well, which sounds funny. fucking killed me having to pay each week for these sessions. Because you're paying for it, you're all in, and I got a lot out of it. So it was pretty amazing for me for my own personal development.
We've had a few people in here speak about how important personal development is in business and property, kind of keep leveling up.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's great to hear. And he's Nico Dementine is a star. But in regards to Bae Juice, and we've probably got one or two questions to go.
Cool.
Doesn't surprise me with a couple of O'Sullivans in the room that we're going over time, Paul.
Yeah. I was in the room with 3 once, and it was too much.
You got 2 years left
and we
somehow.
won't go into that story. But 5 years time, where do you see Bae Juice in 5 years time from now? If I'm an investor wanting to invest, what are you telling me? Where's
I'm
5 years
so
going?
excited for our next chapter. Like, I'm bouncing off walls, and we want to create Bae Juice as a bit more of a lifestyle product. We don't want to just be the Hangover guys. And you talk about sort of personal development and growing as a business owner. Our own journey, both myself and Liam's, changed a little bit over the last few months. We're doing gym sessions 6, 7 a.m. every single day. I've been running 20 kilometers a week all of a sudden.
Brilliant.
And we're like, hold on a second, I still go out as much as I do, but I've just got this really great other balanced lifestyle of some really good health, eating well, gratitude, extra family time I'm putting in. So not only have I developed as a person, we're sort of going, how can we reflect that with our business?
Yes.
And how do we sell to ourselves as that kind of consumer? So we've got Bae Juice here, right? Well, it isn't people having benders and at festivals and stuff. It's people who just work hard, play hard, or people that want to try to have a balanced lifestyle, which I'm trying to work on every single day, which I still find impossible. But it's just the perfect product for it. It's not this crazy, loose, pisshead product. Like, it really is just a lifestyle-y sort of product. So we want to sort of move into a bit more healthier products. We've got a natural caffeinated product coming out soon as well, early next year.
Brilliant.
That's just for a little kick, light buzz, sort of the only juice that'll ever have caffeine in it. It's kind of cool. So again, we like being really innovative. That's our main thing. Innovative, niche, you sort of own the space. Marketing's really easy. You can do really weird, crazy shit because no one else is doing it. So we want to have multiple products, health brand, health company, sort of appealing to a lot more different peoples and different lifestyles, which is really exciting. And I think that's, on the business front, it's just that, building this thing out into more of a company rather than just Bae Juice and the Hangover dudes running around like dickheads in pink suits, which I'm really excited for. And I think will really open up a lot of doors. And then we really want the US to kick off. We talk about moving there all the time. Every time you got to move there, something holds you back and all this sort of stuff. So we'll see what the progression looks like over there. And then hopefully having a fucking awesome exit and getting some shit ton of cash out of it. That's the whole idea, right? 10 years in, you just want to get some coin.
Mate, it's been great. Last question. What's your advice to anyone or any young entrepreneurs out there that's looking to start a path into a new business? Yeah,
so me and Liam were talking about it just literally the other day about watching some other people sort of doing the wrong thing, and we took a lot of risks. Always took a lot of risks. Whether it was just us, whether it was the people, whether it was we had a good team, whether we got lucky and they were ticking containers. Not everyone gets that sort of opportunity, but we just absolutely went for it. Because I try not to be cliche with this question. It's very difficult not to be cliche. But at the end of the day, like, we just went absolutely all in. And people always ask me the same question, going, did you ever have any moment of doubt? And I say so confidently, not for a second. Not 1 minute since that product landed have I ever thought I probably won't walk away $10 million from this product, ever. Like, I'm talking about, I'm broke at the cafe doing 60 hours a week, trying to flog this in 4 stores. I'm like, this thing's going to be huge.
That's actually incredible because
huge
mindset. We spoke about gratitude. We speak about all these things. You hear about Tony Robbins. Stephen, what's his surname? The speaker, the podcast speaker is he a British guy?
The CEO bloke.
Yeah. Can't remember his surname. Regardless, everyone speaks about now how like critical mindset is to creating sort of the end results, creating your reality. And seriously, it sounds like that's been a massive thing for you.
Yeah, for sure. But it's having that, but still doing it in your own way. So it's not me getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing half marathons and having some ridiculous smoothie and drinking turmeric with fucking honey. You know what I mean? I'm still getting...
That literally is what Dan
Oh,
does.
shit. As I thought, you are a bit of a turmeric and honey guy, actually. But you don't...
I just saw Paul there going, this is great.
Yeah, but you don't have to completely change who you are to
100%.
have that mindset.
100%.
I still have fun every second day, still bounce out of bed, still talk shit all day about this and that. But in my brand, in the product and in the business we're building, I'm absolutely 100% confident it's going to happen. But I can still be completely myself while I do it, which I think is really important. You don't have to become some entrepreneur. You know what I mean?
Well, I think for me personally, like, I mean, I'm only a year into my commercial real estate degree, and I make mistakes, not every day, but like once or twice a week, I'll make some mistakes along the way, which is why you learn.
Yeah.
But Paul's been great in going, mate, this is ideally steering me in the right direction, but the best way you learn is by making mistakes, which no doubt
100%.
early days you would have made plenty.
For sure. And then having sort of backing yourself a lot as well, you know. Dad, the old man's a bit like, oh, you know, that's a bit risky. This is a bit risky. A lot of people saying, don't do this. I don't know about it. I don't know. So people get in your ear really quick and are pretty vocal about it too, about their opinions. So you can easily get deterred by it. But that's why it's important to be absolutely this is going to work. And then that helps us block out all those little negativities and doubt and stuff. So that's a big one. That was a good one. I didn't pre-think that one. That was pretty good.
Tim, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
How good.
Unbelievable journey thus far. Good luck with all your future endeavours, mate. I'm no doubt that, similar to you, that it will keep going up as it is.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to going for a little turmeric honey latte now. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
On you, mate.
Thanks.